Hey, what's up, you guys? My name is Boris the Wolf, and welcome back to Bendy and the Ink Machine. Life after the game. So, last episode, we completed all of the chapters. So now, this is going to be sort of a short one, I have a feeling. In this one, we're going to take a look at the archives. I didn't realize that I unlocked it until, well, I heard that if you want to unlock this chapter, in order to unlock it, you have to complete the full game from chapter 1 all the way to 5. Alright, 5. You can't do chapter select. You have to complete the full game in that order. And it turns out I did, so it's like, ooh, I can unlock the archive. So, let's take a look and see what can we find in this archive. So, what's so special about this? And during this video, we'll also be getting into, like, a couple of theories every now and then. Oh! Welcome to the Welcome to the archives. Bendy and the Ink Machine began when the developer cartoonist known as the Meatly experimented with bringing a sketch 2D style into a 3D world. After turning an idea into a horror game, Chapter 1 of the game was created in a little under a week with programmer/friend Mike Mood and released on February 10th in 2017. Much to their surprise, it struck a chord with global indie gamers almost overnight. The Meatly and Mike Mood decided to drop all other projects to work on Bendy and tell a most unique ink story in the I don't know. Yeah. The entire game was completed in a chapter at the time. The game was a chapter. It was completed a chapter at the time in a year and a half by a small but dedicated group of indie developers. Although the concept of the story remained as originally intended, the game changed over development, and as characters and models were refined from their early thrown together other versions. This archive is a peek behind the scenes at that progress. Ooh. So this is like a museum of Bendy the Ink Machine. See? Sort of like a little VR thing. She's quite a gal. Ooh, what's this? Henry Stein. And there's nothing in there because we never saw Henry. I honestly was expecting the ending of Bendy to show, like, we are Bendy. Like that little clip that we saw of where, if you remember in the trailer, we saw one of the earlier versions of Bendy, like, roaming around the halls. I honestly thought that was us. That Henry was going to be Bendy. But no. Henry Stein, once an equal business partner of Joey Drew, Henry Stein was a talented animator and character designer until leaving the company around 1930. His place in Joey Drew Studios' history is somewhat undocumented, but he is often rumored to be the true creator behind many of the studio's most memorable characters. Oh, so 1930. Okay, so I came back in 1960. Okay, that sort of brings up like some more information, and I think to me it tells a little bit. Oh, of course, Joey Drew Studios. It tells a little bit why the studio went bankrupt, and that's the Great Depression. We all remember that during that time, the stock market crashed, and that a lot of people lost their jobs. I think that Joey Drew Studios was one of those places to suffer, and as a result, it had to close down its doors. What the hell is this? What is this? Concept Bendy. The very first version of Bendy ever modeled, and the earliest concepts, Bendy was much smaller and cuter, with a face that split open to reveal a terrifying mouth. What? Oh my god! So, this was their original Bendy? Okay, a little bit of the body's fine, but the head... What? Really? What was going through your brain when you made this? I am very glad this abomination did not make it the final product, because... Can you imagine how weird it would be getting chased by this? I wouldn't really feel scared. I'd feel more creeped out. Oh, and there's some concept art of Bendy. Ooh, and some more. Oh yeah, this one! This was the very... To us, this was the very first Bendy, in the first chapter, like the first original version. Let's see, what is Alpha Bendy? This was the original game-used design of Ink Bendy from the earliest version of Chapter 1. It is jokingly referred to as bird poop with a smile among the development team. Yeah, this abomination is like, what is this? course, back then it was like early testing, like trial and error. He doesn't even have any legs or arms. He's just a lump. He's just a lump of clay with a head. Ah, and here's this Bendy. This is like the more classic Bendy, like the one we're all familiar with. Beta Bendy. This was in Bendy's form until the release of Chapter 4. Or at the time, the game received a major visual upgrade, and a title character got a new model as well. Yeah, this is a Bendy that we're all familiar with. And if Meatley hadn't like done the brand new version of Bendy, I probably would have used this design for like my Lego Ink Bendy character. Speaking of Ink Bendy, here he is, like the newest version. Ink Bendy. Ink Bendy was known as we know him today. Although similar to Beta Bendy, his upgraded version was remodeled, enhanced with a higher polygenic count, and given new ink effects. Yeah. Like, you can see that the ink is, like, dripping through his face and his tie and his glove. That's a very cool effect. I honestly prefer this Bendy, like, game-wise, more than the other one. Appearance-wise, I kind of like this one. But, like, game-wise, I like this one. Because this one has a more demonic feeling to it. Like, when you look at him, he's more skeletal. He's more scary-looking. This one was definitely a nice upgrade. And Beast Bendy. We should just rename this one to Venom Bendy. Because that's pretty much, like, the running joke I heard that people were doing. Like, we are Bendy. Like, this is Venom. Beast Bendy. Ink Bendy's horrific final form in Chapter 5 pulled away the cartoon facade and revealed the demon within. Oh, he does have legs. They're just very tiny. And he looks freaky. Oh, Sammy Lawrence. Oh, and there's the hand. There's an achievement that I don't know if I unlocked, but it said, discover what's beneath the river. I don't know if this is supposed to be Bendy, but with a giant hand, or maybe a reference to Nightmare Run, I guess? Which is kind of interesting, because Nightmare Run was, like, some of the characters that I never saw in this game. Like, we saw in the other game, but never saw in this one. Oh, the Beta Searchers. Early in development, with just a few weeks to create a Chapter 2, the Beta Searchers were designed in record time before being fully retooled later on. They were the first fighting enemies encountered in the game. Yeah. So they did have mouths! I honestly thought that they were just like stubs with heads and arms that roamed around. Oh, and there's concept art for the Piper. Oh, this must have been like the earliest version of the Striker, because he's missing one of his arms. Interesting. Ah, and here's the one that we all know and love. Final Searcher. The Final Searchers were far more robust in appearance, and they were smoother with better ink effects and more human appearance. Nice. Oh yeah, Beta Sammy. With his first appearance in Chapter 2, fan favorite Sammy Lawrence became a terrifyingly entertaining character. When his slim build was deemed not threatening enough, he was redesigned and given a better skeletal rig for more advanced animation. Yeah, I prefer the new one more than this thing. And I think there's, like, more damage to the mask. And the mask, yeah. And, yeah, if you look at the pants, they're definitely more better upwards. Because it's just like, hey, buddy, you might want to pull them up a little bit. And look at his legs. He doesn't even have feet. They're just stubs. And here's the Sammy we all know. Oh, Final Sammy. Sammy Lawrence's final form came complete with a bulked-up stature and more powerful limbs. The mad songwriter may finally be noticed now, at least by fans. Yeah, this is much better. This is a much better appearance. Oh, and there's the Fisher. Cool. Oh, a lost one. Oh, he's the only one moving in this game. That's freaky. Interesting, though. He doesn't have, like, a little, like, description. Oh, and he's in some kind of glass dome. This dome sort of thing. Ugh, that's weird. Ah, and there's Susie Angel. I'm just gonna be calling her Susie. Susie. Wait, she doesn't have a tie. Oh, she did! So I was right. Okay, that's good, because I was afraid that, like, that I accidentally messed up the character wrong. But it was one of those things, like, we never got a full look up. Oh, I can't pull out the lookout tool. Well, I guess I can't really do anything in here. Oh, and there's some concept art, like Susie Angel over here, and then Allison here. Speaking of Allison, here she is. He is. I actually, after, like, I finished recording chapter 5 of Bendy, I went back and, like, I saw some other YouTubers, like, do chapter 5, and in that little area for where we are in the room after chapter 5, I saw on the bulletin board, like, some letters. Like, there was one from Wally saying that he and the missus are doing fine in Florida, and that he has that he's a granddad now. That's pretty interesting. And I also saw another one from Allison, but it wasn't Allison Pendle, it was Allison Connor. So that showed that Allison married Thomas Connor, which I guess explains, like, why Connor trusts Allison. She's his wife, which makes sense. Made sense, and it said that she was working in another studio. It's pretty nice. It was pretty nice. Pretty nice. And also on that bulletin board, to show, like, more stuff for the Great Depression of, like, why this place shut down, is because there was some bankruptcy files, like some bankrupt letters, and overdue charges on the board, so it's like, ooh, Joey didn't pay his money. And he probably was pouring it all into this. Ah, and there's some more concept art to the ink machine. I actually have a small theory of, like, the small ink machine that lowers onto the big one. I don't think that ink machine was supposed to be the ideal ink machine. I think that one was a part of it, but it was rather a prison. This thought didn't occur to me until after hearing again of Thomas Connor. He said that there was one attempt on Bendy, but they never attempted it again, and Joey said he wanted to keep that thing under lock and key. So I think that maybe the Bendy that was harassing us, like, hang on. Like, this Bendy over here. This one here, I think that this one was the first Bendy, and that Joey didn't like it because he was all deformed. It doesn't look like the other one back there. Well, except for the head. Can we fix the head, please? It looks weird. So, I think that the reason why Ink Bendy is out to kill us is because all he's known is pain and hate. And the idea is that Bendy is angry at us because we kept him locked up into the ink machine. And I think the whole ritual that we did wasn't just to activate the real ink machine, like the larger one. It was also to sort of free Bendy from the smaller ink machine. And I remember hearing that there were actually 2 ink machines. So this shows the support, like, oh, that was the other ink machine. So they used the small one to keep Ink Bendy locked away, and then the big one they used to build all of these characters. And here we have Tom. I don't know why this one he has the pipe, because mainly in chapter 5 he was using the axe. The axe. Oh, but they also didn't give a description out for him, or Allison, or Susie. I guess they just did that to sort of, like, leave fan theories, to, like, leave people speculating, like, ooh, what could this mean? Who are these people? I guess we'll never know until they make another game. Oh, yeah, this Boris. I remember this one. Beta Boris. Papa was the original name of the character that eventually became Boris the Wolf. This early version was released with Chapter 1. He was quickly refined into the Boris we know today with the release of Chapter 2. Yeah, I vaguely remember this one, but when I first saw this, I was like, what is this? I remember Jacksepticeye said that this was like Hulk Bendy. Oh, they did more detailing in the freaking ribcage. Ugh. I'm glad that they reformatted it. And I saw that without, like, the splitting chest open, he actually has, like, a little bow tie, like Bendy. I'm glad they changed it up. Like, they don't make the characters too similar to each other. Oh, yeah, there's the throne with the end tape. Interesting. Ooh. I think that concept art represents, like, the studio is crumbling down. It's collapsing and everything. Ah, here's, Boris. Oh, Boris. Boris the Wolf. Oh, Boris the Wolf, a friend, and to the end. He was designed using various references from cartoons of the 1920s, a blend of West Coast and East Coast animation styles. Woo! This silent and supportive wolf won over the hearts of many. Although at times he was a headache for the development team due to his AI taking on a mind of its own during production. Oh, interesting. So I guess Boris was, like, one of the hardest characters to make sure they got right, and make sure that there weren't, like, any problems or anything. Interesting. Oh, and there's Brute Boris. Ugh. Oh, our poor boy. Interesting. This concept art, he still has eyes. These ones are X's. That's a little bit interesting. Brute Boris. Alice Angel's Angel's monstrosity, Brute Boris was one of the biggest surprises in Chapter 4. His design was roughly based off of the Frankenstein monster, but with a more unfinished appearance. Alice took parts from within him and substituted things that his body is rapidly rejecting. Oh yeah, I remember hearing a theory that Brute Boris, that this wasn't like his original body, that Alice Angel might have taken this from someone else and sort of like stitched him together with various parts. Like, we can kind of see here, a bone is sticking out of him. With a brace. Ugh. Yeah, that's freaky. And there's also pipes kicking out of him. His organs are open. This is disgusting. Ugh. Oh yes, the first ink machine. And I feel like I still need to make the new one for like my Lego Bendy showcase. But anywho, the original ink machine. Before a major visual upgrade, this version of the ink machine was the one used in the game. Much of its machine's iconic fan-loved design was translated into the final version. Interesting. Yeah, this is now pretty much nothing more but a smart car. Like, I'm pretty much the size... This thing is the size of me. The other one is much bigger, much more robust. Kind of interesting. Oh, and there's Bertram's head. But again, there's no, like, description over him. That's kind of odd. Like, why wasn't Bertram given a description? Like, for the other characters, I figured out why they didn't, but why not this one? I don't know. Okay, the Butcher Gang. Ah, yes, the Piper, the Striker, and the Fisher make up the dreaded Butcher Gang. Interestingly, the incorrupted versions of the characters were designed first, and then were reverse-engineered back into their more family-friendly cartoon forms. Oh, that's a little interesting. And I guess that would make sense, like, get the more complicated versions, like, done first, and then go back to do the original versions. That's a pretty cool detail, Meatly. I'm glad you did that. It's pretty nice. Ah, man, this is cool in general. Like, a little museum dedicated to, like, all the work they've done. I would kind of have liked it if they had include, like... Well, they probably didn't include everything for obvious reasons, but sort of like, I don't know, audio recordings, some of the like a tool shack for like some of the weapons that were being used. Maybe a little like compare and contrast with the ink machines. Just a whole bunch of stuff, but in general, this is all pretty good. And there are a couple of theories that people of how they're unsatisfied with the ending of Bendy the Ink Machine, and I can see why. It's not necessarily an event that the ending was bad, it's that it didn't make sense. One theory that I have pondering in my brain is that maybe it's Joey's afterlife. Maybe that with the wheelchair, we finally see the wheelchair in the end of Chapter 5, but it was never established, like, what it was used for. I think that maybe Joey was sick, and that's maybe as, like, his last request, he wanted to set all of these people free. Like, in the end, he realized that he made his mistakes, but he's old and sick, and he can't do anything, so he calls on the one person he trusts more than anyone, and that's Henry. He asks Henry to come back to the studio and set all these people free, including his very first character, the one character that he wanted created most of all, Bendy. Very interesting to see of, like, why he did that. And there's also another theory that I saw that maybe that's when you use the see-through tool throughout all the chapters, you see various notes such as like turn back. There's no end to this. Joey lied to us. My favorite is on the Jacksepticeye Sean Flynn tape. It says top of the morning, so it's like it's a reference to Jack's intro. I love that. That's cool. But I think, like, the theory is that Henry is living in an infinite loop, and that every loop he goes to, he takes the ink and he writes a message to, like, a previous version of himself, that he's stuck in this endless loop where he can't escape, and I guess this is sort of like his afterlife. Like, he's constantly stuck in this place that he tried to get away from, but he can't anymore, because he's forever imprisoned by it. It's a little interesting when you think about it. And I guess one more, like, small theory before I leave this video off here is that, like, I didn't realize it until I heard another YouTuber's video on it, but in that scene for where we see this picture that Joey had that that had a little message from Henry. We hear a kid's voice that said, "Tell me another one, Uncle Joey." But when I heard it again, I heard it had an ink effect. Like the ink that we've been hearing throughout the whole game. So it's like, ooh. Could that mean that Bendy, that was Bendy talking? Was Bendy talking to Henry? Not Henry, Joey. Because I guess Henry, in a way, Henry would be Bendy's father, like his true father, because Henry was the one who made Bendy. And I guess a little theory that I'm kind of thinking about with Bendy, who is Bendy based off of? Because many animators, like, base their characters off of, like, a certain something. I think that maybe, like, if Henry had a kid, what if Bendy is based off of that kid? Because sometimes kids can be, like, a little bit mischief and enjoy having fun and everything. And that sort of fits Bendy's personality. Like, he wants fun. And he can sometimes, and he's considered a little mischief demon. So maybe that Henry based Bendy off of his kid, or maybe that kid was, like, drawing something, or was, like, playing with a toy, or something that Henry saw and thought, like, what if we could use that as a character? Because the creative mind of a child has endless possibilities. But again, that could sound ludicrous, as well as, like, my theory that the other ink machine is a prison for Ink Bendy. It could be ludicrous, but, of course, that's, like, what theories are. Like, they're meant to have mistakes. Whew. Okay, I don't think there's really anything else to look at here. So, I guess without further ado, that does it for this episode of Bendy and the Ink Machine. Again, this is pretty much a mini-sode compared to the other ones. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. I really like this. This is like a small little museum for Meatly to dedicate his fans, like how much, as a thank you to, like, how much support we gave them. And I'm really glad for that. I can't wait to see, like, what sort of adventures Bendy is going to go on in the future. I'm hoping that Joey Drew Studios videos will at least do, like, the animations. Because I remember in Chapter 5, the thought didn't fully occur to me, like, well, it did, but I didn't say it, that those cartoons we were seeing, when you look at them, they're based off of all the posters scattered throughout the studios, and I think that's a cool detail to, like, really show they actually did make those cartoons. I really like that, and I hope they actually do that in the future. I'd really love those. That'd be pretty fun. So, I guess without further ado, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Oh, wait. Anyway, quick reminder for you guys, if you're not doing anything on Halloween night, I'm gonna be doing a live stream of the whole game, dressed up as Connor from Detroit Become Human. I know, and I enjoy playing this game, but I wanted to go as Connor, so I'm going as Connor, and, there we'll also be having, like, the chat, so if you guys, like, wanna give off, like, your theories, or just comment for the fun of it, feel free to do that. That's it. If you guys want to check out, like, my Lego Bendy and the Ink Machine playlist, like my Lego Bendy and the Ink Machine waves, like 1, 2, 3, and 4, you can check them out on either my Lego Arts Let's playlist or my Bendy and the Ink Machine playlist. Anyways, you guys can check those out on my channel, and I guess without further ado, see you on Halloween. I'll see you on Halloween nights. But until then, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, hit that like button, comment below what you think, share this to your friends, subscribe to me on YouTube, follow me on Twitch, and here's a half of the road. Thank you guys, and I'll see you next time. What do you guys moonrises?